Was just a boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am. But right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 171 days until Christmas 2023, and we are quickly approaching August, and we'll get the Ahsoka series. And in between, we've been doing only one live stream a week, and I've got my friend Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net with me here today. Jason, thank you for your time. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Yeah.
It's all your pleasure. I mean, thank you for having me on your show, Santa.
You're terrible.
Mr. Claus.
You're terrible.
I'm trying to share your show to the new social media platform,
To the thready thing.
but it doesn't do it on my phone. You know, like when you go, it's like Twitter, WhatsApp, Reddit. It won't come up in my little thing yet.
Yeah.
in there. Oh, I got it. I got it to kind of do it though.
Dude, good.
Yeah.
I tried to access it from my computer, and it says,
Yeah.
no, you have to have an app. I'm like, what do you mean you have to have an app? I wanted
Yeah,
to hit it from the internet webs. No,
pretty dumb.
not.
It's pretty dumb.
Losers.
But I'll take it over nothing. I'll take it over nothing, you know. Like what we're talking about today a little bit, but you know, on the show, obviously, one of the topics. But it's like, you know, you put out an article onto like Twitter, and then 500 people see it. It's like not even worth my time now. They made it not worth my time. Unfortunately, I'm getting more off of this other thing with nobody on it than I am on Twitter now. So
You're
that's
kidding me.
it's just business,
That's
business,
crazy.
Elon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They'll figure it out. I just don't.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I've given up on that kind of stuff a long time ago. It's like, if you're going to take issue with the individuals in charge of things, then mostly you're not going to like things, because the individuals in charge of things mostly are terrible people.
Yeah.
At least.
Oh yeah, they all are.
Yeah. So hey, we were just talking, and it's worth bringing up because it seems like a long time ago. But I did go see Indiana Jones last weekend. Took the wife, my daughter, and my son-in-law, and we loved it. We really did enjoy it. As I just told you, I have it ranked third behind. Between Raiders and Crusade, and then
That's not a bad ranking.
yeah, and my wife, she has it second because Last Crusade to her is completely immemorable. Like she has no recollection of it. And then
Tell her it's the one where Indiana Jones and his dad do the same chick. She'll be like, oh, that one.
I doubt it.
Okay.
Like I'm like, remember the goblets? There was the one that was just plain, and then there were the
Yeah.
She's like,
She's like, you Goblet of Fire? The one where Cedric Diggory dies? No, different. It's a grail. Like, you don't want to drink. It'll turn into an old guy if you drink from the fancy one.
Okay. She couldn't remember walking across the invisible bridge.
So wait a minute. He got shot, but isn't he immortal? Sorry, that's something that always comes up too. I'm like, no, if he leaves beyond the seal of the.
I said it was shot at Petra. You know Petra, that place.
Yeah. Oh, I know her. Oh no, yeah, I know her too.
Well, I do actually know a Petra. She's got stage 4 cancer and she's in really
Oh,
bad shape. So our prayers have been with her. She was part of our Bible study for a while. She went to the same high school as my wife and I. But yeah, so I do know Petra. But
I betcha. Hope you're
yeah,
doing okay. Considering.
hopefully, yeah. So, so we enjoyed it. We really did have a good time,
Me
and
too. I've seen it like 4 times.
that's fantastic.
I went. I took Penny to the drive-in the other day,
Oh, cool.
and I saw it at the drive-in, which was nice because I've seen them all at the drive-ins now, like just over the years, randomly. Like, and I was like, you know what? Let's do it, Penny. And she was like, all right. And it was a good time. It was I feel like it's a really even film. Like I feel like it's always going at 7. For the record, I don't believe in 10s. So if you believe in 10s, then I give it an 8. If you agree with me that nothing is a 10, it's a 7. Does that make sense?
I got you.
Does that make sense? But yeah,
off. Yeah.
it's where I put it. But like, yeah, I've watched it like a bunch of times. It's like a super even film. But the thing about Indiana Jones movies is I noticed that I tend to not watch them all in one go. I tend to put it on and watch like 30 minutes and then go do something else and then go back to it. I tend to almost watch them episodically. I almost never sit down for 2 hours and 20 minutes and watch the whole thing. So I kind of think in a weird way, I'm wondering if this one ages better than, let's say, if I say one, everybody be like, that's my favorite one though. But if I wonder if it's going to age well for that reason.
Well, because, it is all the Indiana Jonesiness of Indiana Jones. Like it's got all the things. Like if the car chase is too crazy for you, go watch the mine car thing. Like
mine car, yeah.
It's perfect. It's all the Indiana Jones stuff is there. I don't know how people could not, put it at least as a deserving Indiana Jones film. It may not be your favorite, right? I get that, but it also
it's still a bonus film when you get down to it. Like they just didn't need to make it. They could have never made it. Yeah. And then they did. And so it's like one of those things where like if you had a good time, then it's like rad. And then if you didn't, if you're like Star Wars Fits, who's like, I don't even see Indy 4 as a real film, then it's like, well, nothing's lost really, It's just like that's the way I see it.
I think it's more Indiana Jonesy than Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Crystal Skull's I saw Crystal Skull on just one of those Saturday channels.
Like TBS or something.
Yeah. I'm just changing channels and it's on. I'm like, there, I'll just leave that on. I'm doing stuff. So it wasn't really sitting and watching it. But in seeing it again, I was like, oh, this doesn't suck as bad as I thought it did. It's better than I gave it credit for. But yeah, no, I think the Dial of Destiny is definitely better than Crystal Skull.
It's a better film for sure. Like we were just talking, like objectively speaking, structurally speaking, it's a better film. There's not like 3 waterfalls at the end of the movie that just like break the momentum of the whole movie for no reason other than, can you believe I did that? George Lucas, George Lucas is being, and they're just like, I guess we got to give it to him. He's George Lucas.
I tend to root for people at the end of their career, and Harrison Ford. I would love this movie to make back what its budget is, and I understand there's a bunch of factors going in. People aren't really necessarily calculating in like merchandising, for example. Look, there's plenty of stuff out there with Indy 5 merchandising on it. All the way from your Fruit Loops to whatever, right? It's on all the stuff. But so they made some money from that for sure. They're going to make more money from putting it on the streaming service at some point. And how do you quantify that? It's really difficult. So at the end of the day,
it'll make its money. It'll make its money back for them. But when is more of the question for how long it takes to become profitable. And I don't have Disney stock, so I don't really care. It's not really my problem. You know what I mean? It's like, I got my indie movie.
We got more fun here.
I guess it could be our problem if our next Star Wars movie only costs like $100 million because we're like, we ain't got no money.
Well, there you go.
Disney's broke.
I talked to Bespin about that a bit last week because he did a great job standing in for you. And
I wouldn't go that far. It was all right. You
Well,
know,
I mean,
he was here. He
he's
showed
the
up.
Beavis of the
The Beavis of the Butthead.
So, you know, hey, I thought he did a great job. But
Yeah, no, he did. He did do a good job. He did. A good job.
yeah. It was great to talk.
Bespin, you did a good job. Don't be upset.
He
Don't be
did a
upset
great
with me.
job.
You did a good job.
He
You're
really
a
did.
good boy. You good boy. You good boy.
Jeez.
Okay. He's okay. He's okay.
But the concern really is, and I'm starting to see more outlets talking about, is the summer blockbuster in trouble? Like just in general, is the summer blockbuster in trouble? Certainly, the new movie with Tom Cruise,
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible,
Dead
movie.
Reckoning Part 1.
We'll see how Mission Impossible does. Like it may do well. We hope. It's not like I'm rooting for it to fail. I certainly don't want it to. I want Indiana Jones to do better. I want Mission Impossible to do better. I enjoy the summer blockbusters.
Oh,
it would be great to have them.
When Hollywood does, when the summer box office is good, that's when we ultimately win as consumers. That's when they're willing to throw more money at the stuff that we buy.
Well, and that's my concern.
Anybody rooting against movies is if you love movies, you're dumb. Like you shouldn't do that. That's
and then with the,
bad mojo.
Tom Cruise is basically saying, "Go see the movies," and and he's got a bunch of his celebrity friends to go show themselves at the theater with the ticket. Like, go see all these movies.
But that's a big, that's a big thing because he went and tried to take away all their screenings, and now he's trying to take the pictures with it. Like, oh guys, I'm not a jerk. It's like, I got your number, Tom Cruise.
100%. But at the same time, he is trying to like encourage folks, go see these movies. If you don't, then you may not get more, because studios are risk averse, right? They rightfully so. If you're spending your millions of dollars and you want to get your millions of dollars back, you're going to put it where you can more likely get that money back. If the summer blockbuster is not going to fulfill that for you, and they've got by with some real stinkers in there that made plenty of money. I see where like the Meg 2 is trending really poorly.
I love that trailer. I'm not gonna lie. I saw that trailer and I was like, Penny, you want to see that? And she's like, no. And I'm like, but he fights a big jerk on a jet ski. It looks so dumb. Let's go see it.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, and as Brandon's saying, like, these budgets are going to get contracted. That's going to happen. And do you want your blockbuster movie to be $100 million movie, or you want to be a $300 million movie? Like,
and I agree with Brandon there. That will happen, but also there was like a good at least 20% that gets added on because of the pandemic that was going on when they were filming those films. It seems to be a minimum of 20% is added on. That now Indy and a couple of others are claiming a lot higher than that. I don't know why, but there's always a chance on a high profile movie like Indy. The protocols are truly really enforced and things really did grind down to a slow halt. Whereas on other cheaper films, nobody's paying attention and they just did what they did. But we don't know. That's like conjecture on my part. But anyways, we are past the craziest, deepest protocols there. So we should see budgets fall just from that alone by 20 to 30%. Yeah. So hopefully if they do get more conservative on that front, because of what this summer season, the COVID thing just offsets it. Like that's my hope. And it will probably end up going that way, especially because it depends on how they blame the failures of the summer. Like we've already seen WB trying to blame Ezra Miller for the Flash thing. I don't know who should be blamed. I don't even care. But the point is, I've already seen the articles that are like where it's a coordinated effort to be like, see, it was Ezra. That doesn't just happen organically.
Right.
It's like it's very much like it's kind of a little bit coordinated on that front. And maybe it's his fault. I don't care. On top of that, though, when you kind of move a little bit past that kind of stuff, like Indiana Jones. I think it was Ben was asking, like, will Mangold Star Wars film be hurt by Indy underperforming? The only way that would happen, for instance, is if the Mangold's choices were directly attributed to the reason that the movie failed. Number one, if the movie was bad. Disney did not think the movie was bad. Mangold delivered the movie that Disney wanted, and they were elated and confident in it enough to take it to cons and so on. And so like they're directors for hire. When a director for hire brings you exactly what you delivered and it's like considered fairly good, you're fine. Now, if he was having like Josh Trank issues, was difficult to work with, the movie came in over budget because of his choices and his ideas and his mistakes, then yeah, he would be out.
Really good points. And to your point there too, and I'm trying to make a little bit of a pivot. We'll get there in a minute, but
take us there.
We'll start.
Take us home, Santa.
We're going to start the pivot. We're not going to make it all the way to Star Wars yet. But to your point about the narratives coming around about the whys, of course, Kathleen Kennedy's getting hit again because of the budget, the box office of Indiana Jones. What you just said is sort of pertinent in that discussion. It's a good movie. It's got reasons that it is performing the way that it is that aren't necessarily directly attributable to her. So at the end of the day, how hot do her feet get because of this? Hard to say, right? But we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, at some point, Disney will just be like, we're going to change. If there's no wins, right, then for sure they will be like, well, it's time. But it's not going to happen how the internet thinks, for the record. Right. It's not going to be like no. It's not going to be like, oh, Kathleen Kennedy gets there and Jon Favreau's packing up her desk. It's not going to happen like that. No, they just won't renew her next contract. That's how it will go for her.
Yeah, or she'll say, folks, I'm 70 years old. I've decided to take my toys and go home. And they'll say, thank you very much. We'll have a big party and a big celebratory kind of send off, and it'll be a big deal. And it'll be on her terms, 100%. But the other thing that people just are being dumb about, dumb, is assuming that if she's not there, the person you like is going to be there.
Yeah, no, it'll probably be somebody who we don't even know who they are. We're gonna be learning who that person is. The grifters will be trying to figure out, okay, what did she say about Bill Clinton in 1994? Okay, we got it, or something like that.
Well, that's totally going to happen, and it's not going to be who they're rooting for, right? They think Jon Favreau is going to be the studio head or the CEO of Lucasfilm.
Yeah,
it's just not. Look, it's not. It's not. Lucasfilm is more than Star Wars. It's a conglomeration of businesses.
Without going far off, with how Indy is done, do you think Indy needs to remain a Lucasfilm property at this point? Considering like when it's an illusion that Lucasfilm even exists. Yeah. It's all Disney. At the end of the day. Yeah. And I keep wondering, like, why does Lucasfilm exist? Because number one, Indy didn't perform, so I don't think we're going to see a lot of Indy going forward. Not necessarily. Willow they destroyed, and
you're raising up a really good point that I hadn't really thought about. One, Indiana Jones should, as a franchise, end with Harrison Ford's retirement. Like, is Indiana Jones? Yeah, if you want to have a spin-off franchise.
Yeah, if they want to like Apollo Creed or Creed, Creed to Rocky, by all means, but
do that. Yeah, but you don't have Indiana Jones 6 without an Indiana Jones in it. Like it's not like 007 where a different person gets the moniker because the last dude died, or retired. It's like no, it's or Green Lantern for that matter. It's the dude wearing the ring. It's not that necessarily like that. Indiana Jones is not Indiana Jones, then you don't have Indiana Jones. Like that's it, as far as I'm concerned. So if you talk about doing that, then Indiana Jones as a franchise is done. For all intents and purposes. Like perhaps they'd come up with some comic books, some stories, some video games, sure. but it's done with Harrison Ford, done. And then you can have another franchise. But the bigger question you just asked is really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Lucasfilm, Disney owns all of it. And as you said, to some degree, it's general ledger kind of stuff, right? It's all make believe, pretend how you file things in different categories.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's still Disney. And would there be a benefit to just collapse all the brands as distinct businesses and treat each of them as a franchise within the Disney vault rather than a business? Because that's really what it is.
Yeah,
Star
yeah.
Wars is a franchise. ILM is a ILM may still be an actual business. But,
Yeah, it is still a business, and it's not like Lucas. It's I don't know. Is it even still really a division of Lucasfilm? I'm not even sure
right,
if
right.
it really was. But when it comes down to it, like we probably needed, we would have been better served as Disney customers if Lucasfilm was focusing on Star Wars only, and then they had just let Fox make the Indiana Jones film. And like run it, because like the Star Wars thing, you do need a team of people who know everything about Star Wars, who manage all of that stuff and all of the shit. Like Lucasfilm needs to exist to do that.
Do they?
Whether you call it Lucasfilm or you call it, because if it was just solid Disney, if we had these people going and working on Solo, a Star Wars story, and then jumping over to make John Carter of Mars 2, I just think it would be very messy. It wouldn't be as consistent like Marvel.
Okay.
Just all does the Marvel stuff. So you need that. But my whole thing is they don't need Willow. They don't need Indy. And Willow, Indy, and Star Wars are all that Lucasfilm really has.
Yeah, I mean, Howard the Duck is still out there, right?
No, they only had the film rights to that one. He's in. Yeah, I know, and he's a Marvel guy. Now, if Lucasfilm did a Marvel Howard the Duck movie for Marvel, that would be fun. That'd be interesting, but they won't.
Yeah. Writer's strike. We're on day 67.
Wow. Yesterday was 66, bro. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Any end in sight? As you're hearing things?
The SAG performers just got like their email saying we're down to strike. They all voted like yes, and I was just talking about them last week. I'm like, oh, you don't hear anything about them. Where are they? What's going on? And then that happened, and so that's about to kick up, and that actually what could have big ramifications for Andor, for instance. Like it's filming right now, so that might be what bumps the brakes on that if they don't somehow get Andor finished or in before that strike begins, which I don't know when it's supposed to start. I don't know what day they're supposed to begin.
I think I could be wrong. I think it's about the 30th.
The 30th?
I think.
Yeah.
My brain tells me that there was a vote on June 30th or something like that, and then it was a 30-day lead. And I could be, again, I might be way off, but something in my brain is just triggering that. And again, it's unreliable.
Yeah.
But DGA has a deal in hand that they're I don't know that they actually taken the official vote to accept the deal in hand.
Yes.
Or they have a deal in hand.
They've accepted. So the directors are about to exit the whole thing.
Yeah.
And and I would say the directors could have stood in solidarity with the writers and said but we're not accepting until they're done. That's what they could have done that. They didn't. That's all really that I think from what I know. I don't know everything, so I might be wrong. But they that's pretty much they got what they wanted. And what they got is what the writers need as well. All of the things that they got are what the writers want. So like I said, at the end of the day, it's just that small writers room is apparently the big hang up. And we're talking about last time, the guy who writes Yellowstone, he's a single writer. And he's now they're going to make us hire 5 writers and I don't need them. So they're just going to get paid and they're not going to write on the show.
Yeah.
So
Dawn, Hey, I'll say this about calling it Lucasfilm. It carries on the legacy of the creator. It is his company he started in. They bought that company.
Yeah.
So that it exists in perpetuity after he sold it.
Just like Pixar, he sold Pixar, and it's still called Pixar.
Right.
It's the same. It's
Right.
like that kind of thing. Yeah, he did put his name on it, obviously, and that's why it plays weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So I've got this guy here.
can I have
It
it?
says, nope, you cannot. But I am giving it away.
Can I have it then?
So we've got Boba Fett. This is the Sideshow collectible, Hot Toys.
Damn, look
Boba
at that
Fett.
respect. Look at the respect
know.
he's rolling with on that throne right
That
now.
is fantastic. This thing's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. And you can see it's never been opened. It's unopened package. I couldn't take it out of the box so I can show it. But this thing is quite large. It
Yeah, that's what she
includes-
said.
I know. Risman. Where's Risman? That's what he told me this morning too. But there's there's Boba Fett. You've got the throne there. You got Boba Fett.
Yeah.
There's an update. Fennec Shand is in the mail.
Oh, it's in the mail.
UPS has it, and they're bringing it to my house. When I get the Fennec Shand that goes with this set, I'll be giving away the entire collection. Boba Fett, the throne, Fennec Shand, the Sideshow collectible hot toy. You can do, look, once they're at your house, then do your thing. But you're going to have this set as a giveaway to one of our channel members, one of our
That's cool.
folks that support the channel at $10 a month. If you're one of our Elite Squad members, either on YouTube or Patreon, then you'll be entered into, and you've been that for at least 6 months, then you'll be entered into the giveaway. And we will be giving this big collection away to one of our folks as a huge thank you for supporting the channel for so long. And that's quite, if you go out there, oh, I'm blurry. Oh, I haven't.
Whoa, that was like Yeti. That was like the Yeti version. I just saw you like walking like in silhouette.
Yeah, but look, that's the total value of all of that is quite high. So just to let folks know how much I appreciate it. And even though we haven't been doing videos, I've been doing live streams every day. I've been making videos, lots of them. I've got like, oh yeah, I've got like 9 of them queued up and already recorded in the archives, just waiting for thumbnails. As soon as I get a couple of thumbnails,
Come on, Baymax.
hey, he said it. I was,
Come on.
He's got some sort of excuse. Like he's always like in the, the Bahamas hanging out with some hot.
Oh,
girlfriend.
yeah, this hot model in the Bahamas wants me to put oil on her back. You know what? Do it after you do a thumbnail.
Right? I'm like, come on.
Think Star Wars Santa cares right now?
What kind of excuse
He knows
is
what you're
that?
doing. He can see everything, man.
And then he sends us pictures. I'm like, this isn't helping.
It helps a little bit.
Right now, he says he's in a field in Donegal.
What? I think that's like that one scene in Train Spotting when they're like all in the field. That's what I imagine it's like.
So for our members over in Patreon, there are going to be another series of videos uploaded exclusive to Patreon only. So if you really want to get exclusive content, you'd like to be able to learn more about this Thrawn character before Ahsoka comes out, Patreon's the place to be. That is the place to be. We've already gone through the 2017 Thrawn novel. All of the chapters are posted there with some commentary discussion of it. And I am working my way through Thrawn Alliances, the 2018 novel that is... you haven't read these at all, have you? Right?
No, I know the contents
Of
to
them.
some degree.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So this one here is it's entertaining from several different perspectives. One is it has a lot of prequel era content. So you got Padme, Anakin, and Thrawn all interacting in some degree. But they also it has original trilogy era. It actually happens concurrently with Rebels. It's immediately after season 3 of Rebels. Like that last episode of Rebels where the Bendu is there and Thrawn tries to shoot him and he goes away. It's like the next day, the book picks up right there. Okay. So and you get Thrawn and Vader working together. So it's both. You've got the prequel era with Padme, Anakin, and Thrawn, and you've got the Rebels era with Vader and Thrawn, and it's great. But in both of these, they go to Batuu. Have you heard of Batuu before?
No, nobody ever has. Brand new planet.
Brand new planet.
Doesn't they wouldn't even build like a theme park about it. It's so unknown.
And they go to this town called Black Spire Outpost. Bizarre.
Right. Sounds like some BLM nonsense to me.
So you get Padme, Anakin, Thrawn,
right,
Vader, all at Batuu, all at Black Spire Outpost.
Do they all go get a blue milk together for $9? Glass of milk for $9? Do they do that? Does Padme have the blue mustache?
So I in my reviews I keep talking about how you can go to the same place, as Padme and walk the actual streets.
At Galaxy's Edge, they like do things like there's like I can't remember. There's something with Thrawn at Batuu, and he fires like a gun into something or whatever, and they actually like put the detail in the park, like from the book. There's things like that like reference. I think they stopped doing that, but originally there was supposed to be a bigger publishing objective that was going to affect the park, and they ended up not doing it because of that. Mr. Thumb Chapek said, "No, you can't have the money now." So,
well, what's really interesting about it is that with the end of the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel, they've been holding the era at Galaxy's Edge strictly to sequel era only, in Orlando specifically. And I know in your backyard, they've started allowing more Mando,
like Mando, right? And Grogu show up.
Mando, Grogu, Boba Fett, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
With closing the hotel, and with Ahsoka coming out, with the new interest in Thrawn that should gin up out of that, and these novels, they've established a precedent to put Thrawn there, to put Padme, Anakin. Like, you could have different times of the day be dedicated to certain eras. And because the place is so small, people coming to Disneyland, Disney World could cycle back through different times a day just because, oh, hey, I showed up in the morning and Padme and Anakin are there. If I come back at 2:00, then Mandalorian and Grogu are going to be here. And if I come back at 6:00, Darth Vader and Thrawn are going to be there. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so people, it doesn't take that long to go through just that part. Now the rides, they're great. The rides are great, but once you've ridden like the 3 rides that are there, you've ridden the 3 rides. But if you're coming back for character meet and greets, you've got the sequel era that's already there.
Well, see, this is what's always overlooked, though. This is what's always overlooked is when you go into the park and you go to Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
There's a whole meet and greet place there, and all the characters are there. Darth
Yep.
Vader and Captain Fat and all that kind of stuff. And the other thing is with them dropping sequel trilogy films, that's the plan. I'm curious if they just hold out and pump the brakes until they get back to Rey as in her new film and update the Reys and stuff like that, and we just move on from there, because it's like the rides are all themed to the sequel trilogy era. And then when you look at just like how, you know, the amount of time that they have now, realistically, if they wanted to save money and make it all make sense, they should just go Mando era, because they film it right there. There's stuff that sometimes they're making that they could maybe make and just move into the park, like the A-wing, you know. But when they made those ships, like that new A-wing and stuff like that, they made them out of aluminum so that way they last a super long time. They're not made out of wood like the Star Wars movie shows.
I see.
So those ships, they don't necessarily like go like, well, it looks like junk now, let's throw it away and just put something else from a different era because it's that time. Like they made all of that stuff to last in that park. So I'm kind of curious how this goes, but also it stands to reason the Mando era will catch up to the sequel trilogy era in a close enough way at some point where they will probably be able to meet in the middle there. You know what I mean? With that content and have it coexist, you know?
Well, I'm just, you know, hey,
yeah,
the content is there. The precedent is there.
Yeah.
It's in the novels. Timothy Zahn's written it for you as we start to get more Thrawn content. And I know nobody reads the books. Look, I get it. Nobody reads the books.
Oh yeah, but he's going to be in the main bad guy in the new next television show, and he's been referenced in Mando, and he's probably going to be the bad guy in that movie. So he's going to, you know, he's going to get known. The whole question is, does he actually connect? Does the Mads Mikkelsen interpretation of Thrawn like really work? It doesn't matter what we think of like Star Wars Rebels, Thrawn, and that kind of stuff, because it's not really that big in the actual like big picture here. If this Thrawn doesn't connect, then that's just it for him. That'll be it. But if he did, but he might be. This might be what actually makes Thrawn, like where when you go to the grocery store and somebody's talking about Star Wars and you say, "Oh yeah," and Thrawn's in it, they're like, "Oh okay." Right next to that, they go, "Who's that?" Nobody would know, probably.
Matt Risman, that hilarious. So so we've got Fennec Shan, the Sideshow Collectibles, going to be here like Monday, and we'll have that giveaway ready. We're going to be posting a bunch of new videos to Patreon. We're doing stuff here. It's just the live streams are down to once a week on Fridays until things pick back up. So just letting folks know there's lots of Star Wars Santa content out there. Come check us out on Patreon. And as soon as I get a couple thumbnails from
Baymax said Mara Jade is going to kill Rey at Galaxy's Edge. You know what would kill? Some thumbnails, Baymax.
Some thumbnails. I'm just saying. I've got a whole bunch of them sitting here on my computer to upload, but geez, no.
I mean, do I have to send this guy some crayons and have him draw it himself? Sorry, you know I get heated, Santa.
It's his fault I had to make my own thumbnail today. I mean, my goodness, what kind of
how dare you have a life? How dare you have a life?
I'm going to cut his pay in half. That's what I'm going to do.
Now it's 0 again. Now you're back to 0. Cut in half. Still at 0.
Still 0. I appreciate all he does for me.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He is. He really is. So Star Wars news. We're here to talk about Star Wars news of the week, and I put a few things in the thumbnail. The one being that, hey, thank you, Matt Risman. Thank you for that. One of them being that the Ahsoka trailer or footage or teaser or pictures or whatever it is they were going to do last weekend didn't happen. Yeah. Because Twitter, that daggone Twitter.
Yeah, it ruined the rollout.
Yeah.
It ruined it, took it away from us. Took it out of our little mouths, our little hands. We're like, yeah. You know, and at the end of the day, it's like not really the biggest issue, not the biggest deal. People keep going like, this is being marketed so poorly, blah blah blah, and it's like, no, the shows get marketed in the month before. This was a, hey guys, heads up, look at this. So when you see it later on, when we start the marketing, you go, oh wow, like that's how it's designed. And so I imagine we will still see it.
Well, SDCC is coming up, right?
I don't think they're doing it though.
I think they're going to be there. There's a big presence of Lucasfilm there. Star Wars has a.
They have that floor. They have that like that like little like area on the floor too. So I suppose it could launch with that.
They've been advertising it up on their YouTube channel and socials. So they're like, hey, come check us out. Make sure you're doing all the things. So Matt's saying Lucasfilm opted out of SDCC. Well, I know Star Wars is. That's
what I thought.
No, they're going to be there, and they're going to be there big. And they posted pictures of the setup there. They're going to have all the things.
Yeah, no. See, they always have that like floor space. If they don't show up, and if it's a use it or lose it situation, so they will always use that floor space.
I know Marvel said they're not going.
But are they doing Hall H? Because if they're doing Hall H, then that's a game. Then we're like, oh, really? If they're not doing Hall H, then have fun like seeing the HasLab thing just in person or something. That's what it's good. That's what it'll probably end up being. Like if they don't do that.
Okay.
And they might like put like the Indiana Jones costumes out like at the pavilion so you could see that kind of thing, you know? It might be
the Star Wars YouTube channel update, and they were really advertising it up that they were going to do all these things at San Diego. Make sure
I hope you're right, but no. I mean, I hope it's like going to be a thing. Most likely, it's just going to be the floor. Most likely, that's because if they're not doing if they're like I said, if they're not doing a Hall H presentation, I don't expect it to be there to be anything. The kind of reveals though that oftentimes can go on the Comic-Con floor are costumes. Like the very first time we ever saw Two Tubes was at Comic-Con, I believe. Like his costume was like revealed there and stuff like that. It is not really the biggest deal, you know, not really the biggest deal like what the costumes are, but that's what we usually get. And with this being like the Indiana Jones month and the movie still like regardless of everything, the movie's still in theaters and if when they do Comic-Con they would still want to promote the movie. I'm curious if it's just going to be Indiana Jones costumes. That's me being ultra pessimistic, but I would bet on my pessimism on this one.
Gotcha. Well, and Risman is confirming here. He said Netflix, Sony, HBO, Universal, Lucasfilm, and Disney are joining Marvel Studios in skipping a Hall H and other panels this year. So
because the thing about it is you go and you release your Ahsoka trailer to a bunch of noise. It doesn't really help you at all. That's kind of the opinion. And they also had like some like just like dumb experiences too. Like I remember like when they did the Rebels thing, like they like announced like they had like the cast up there and just like, do you even really watch Star Wars? Like that was like the questions when they had like the open mic questions. It was stupid.
Yeah. There's some of those have been fantastically entertaining, but probably not great.
Yeah.
So Real Ben asked Bespin yesterday was saying, watch out for MSN or your local Blockbuster VH tape.
Yeah, he's wrong. Yeah. He's wrong. It's going to be on Quibi. It's going to be a Quibi exclusive. You could change the aspect ratio. It's going to be lit.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So there's a lot of finger pointing going on now about that Ahsoka trailer. When are we going to get it? I think it's still early, as you're saying.
Number one, I keep telling you, it's not a trailer. It's a first look. It's gonna be like slow motion of like her doing Pilates with the lightsaber and stuff, and going like, we're all the family here on set. We're all here for Dave's vision, and it's gonna, and then it'll have some couple of cool shots, you know, in it, or a couple of cool moments.
Well, yeah, and Well, and that's what Bespin was saying last week as well. Like, don't expect the trailer. Like, and that was right before the weekend. And don't, set your expectations down. It's not going to be that. The trailer will come, but that's going to be later. What they're talking about now is not that.
Just look at any sizzle reel first look videos you've ever seen for any of the shows, and that's what that was supposed to be. But
Well,
I mean, once we hit July 23rd, that's when the days right before July 23rd and after, that's when we're in trailer season.
How about my birthday? They could do it right for my birthday.
When's your birthday?
July 22nd.
Oh, I'm August 23rd on the Ahsoka day. Beat you. But maybe you get the trailer.
That'd be great. But the thing is, like a lot of social media, Star Wars accounts and stuff, start hyping this stuff up bigger than what it is ever intended to be. And we're all guilty of it. We've all done it. But and then when they release it, it's like, oh, they didn't give us what we had hoped for, what we expected. That's happened for May the 4th. That's happened, over and over again at D23, and you could just list it. So I think Bespin was right last week in what you're saying today. Lower your expectations of what this might be, and then just be patient. We'll get what we're waiting for eventually.
A friend at Disney was telling me that pretty soon, the way that they market the Disney Plus shows is going to be changing. They're going to be doing like completely like different rollouts, and I don't think it was supposed to start with Ahsoka, but I keep questioning. I'm still waiting for the answer. I'm questioning if the Elon Musk Twitter situation has brought that in faster, if we're going to see some new things for the way that Ahsoka's marketed compared to the last shows, based off of the fact that the old rollout is not going to work anymore.
Could be. Dawn was saying, what is the deal with these? Everybody's skipping the SDCC. Why are so many of these studios just skipping Hall H?
Because you could like release the Ahsoka trailer on July 22nd. And nothing's going on. If that's Comic-Con, forgive me. But July 22nd, when like nothing's going on except for Santa's birthday, and then you own the day. You own the whole thing is the Ahsoka trailer. That's the internet today for that genre of stuff. Whereas when you go to Comic-Con, like you own the moment, and then right after that, like look at like what happened with like Kevin Smith. He was there to promote his movie, and then J.J. Abrams is like, hey, we're doing a Star Wars concert across the street, everybody come on, let's go, and then everybody just leaves. So it's like it really deflates. Like, and at the end of the day, I was at that Comic-Con, I went to that thing, that's all I remember now. I know it's a long time, it doesn't matter, they want to promote you in the moment, but stuff just wins out and other things don't, so it's just not really worth it necessarily. I think the comic book stuff should definitely be there. I think that's weird. I think, but like Marvel's thing is the fact that they've pushed everything back. Marvel, I don't think really has like a lot to promote. There was a thing going around. They were talking about shelving Echo and doing a Batgirl on Echo. Then it's like Bespin's the one who told me that. And then they were like moving into, we need content because of what's the world that we live in right now. So,
right.
So right. I think it's strange. I think it's strange that the comic book stuff isn't there just as a, hey, look, like, don't you guys just like Ant-Man or whatever? You know what I mean? Like in general, I think that's a little bit weird on their part. But in terms of like the film studios and like the non-superhero stuff like that, I don't see like a huge advantage to it for them, especially when like Disney throughout the year has their own conventions. They have their Star Wars celebrations. They have their D23s. Like, why give your content to somebody else's thing when you by withholding from it, you make Celebration and D23 way sexier.
Well, let's throw that in with the industry as a whole. Like it used to be, SDCC was the thing.
It was,
that's where everybody went. That was and if you wanted to be seen, that's where you went to be seen.
Yeah.
But as you're saying, now we have social media platforms, YouTube and Twitter and Threads and Instagram and all of these social media.
MySpace, Friendster.
That's right.
Right?
Exactly.
Ask Jeeves.
They're in their own. Ask Jeeves. That used to be the place, man. But
Alta Vista.
if you wanted answers, you asked Jeeves. But they have a lot more outlets to direct to consumer, right? Direct to customer. I belong to like Disney Insiders and Disney Movie Insiders and that kind of thing, where they publish things as well, and they're constantly sending me things. You have lots of ways to get content now, and to be seen, you don't have to go to SDCC. So I think that's the big part of it. The other thing we're seeing is this summer blockbuster that we talked about. You're seeing changes in this direct to consumer through the streaming services, and the whole thing is sort of just a mess. They're all trying to figure it out. What's the right budget? What's the right delivery vehicle? What's the right marketing? What's the right way to do it? Well, the ways of the past are changing, and they've got to be changing with it. And the bigger the company is, the harder it is to pivot, and the harder it is to kind of adapt to those things. And a lot of these companies just don't have that kind of maneuverability to be able to navigate this thing, and they're trying their best, right?
And I know there was like some frustration with the sense that you could go to Comic-Con and you're preaching to the choir, and you think Scott Pilgrim's gonna make $1 billion, and then it just doesn't, like that kind of stuff. Though that's like it's a weird one. I do think that if they should I don't think that they should just be out as hard as they are. I don't think it should be all or nothing, but seems to be the way it goes. But there will always be that Lucasfilm pavilion on the floor, like I said, because it's a use it or lose it situation, so they have to use it.
And they'll have folks there for sure.
Yeah.
Right. And so but just not doing Hall H anymore. They don't need to. So I think that's it. What you also see with a lot of these things is
I'm gonna tickle you. I'm gonna tickle you. Oh, sorry.
The pricing, then the fees that they have to pay to have a prominent spot at Hall H. They're saying, well, we could spend that money differently. It's not like they offer them that space for free.
Yeah.
No. Like, please come to Hall H. We'll pay you. No, it's the other way around. You pay us, and then you got to pay a lot. And they're like, we don't have to do that anymore. So hire somebody else. Not us. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
So Bespin showed up in the chat. Good to see you, my friend.
It's all right.
There's this other story that says Star Wars Skeleton Crew. This came out the 29th. The creator shares details on the series, and Jude Law talks of his contradictory character. I know you've already covered this, but this is...
Oh, no.
I'm a week behind, so we'll catch this. So he's got this big summary here.
I got a strong behind. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, you guys should, we mentioned Patreon before. Jason's got a wonderful Patreon way to support him. So does Bespin. Bespin has Patreon.
Bespin does too.
And it's a great way to support him. He used to constantly be begging for Ko-Fi, and he still is. But Patreon is actually where you can support him. But,
please, sir, can I have some Ko-Fi? That's what he says.
It is exactly like that.
They don't give it to him. They're like, oh no, we'll take you for granted. We'll miss you when you're gone.
Misquote you and then
misquote you and miss you when you're gone.
Yeah. So John Watts and Christopher Ford, the Skeleton Crew, inspired by Amblin movies like The Goonies, and it talks about how these are not kids movies, but they're movies that have kids. Goonies is a great example. Like there's I remember having a big debate when we were raising our kids. They're preschool to elementary age kids. Was Goonies appropriate for our kids? Because there's some language in there that
we were all talking like that anyway, so the answer was yes.
Well, not all of us were.
I
got in a bit of hot water for letting my kids watch it at age inappropriate. and I really had to defend it. I really had to be like, well, Goonies. It's the same for a lot of those Amblin type movies.
Yeah.
Sometimes the content in there was a little strong.
Yeah, and it's like in Goonies, like Mikey doesn't really use bad words, but the other kids do. You know what I mean? Like that's but in a weird way, it kind of like as a kid you do pick up on it. You do pick up on stuff like that. But also you can look at like E.T.
Right.
It's another Amblin film. It's like it's not necessarily a kids movie. It's not about the fact that they're kids, and then something's happening extraordinary with the kids there. But you do have penis breath. It does call him penis breath.
You do. And the other aspect of both of those is it's a little intense for a lot of younger kids. Like it borders on being too scary.
I found E.T. terrifying as a kid. I loved the movie. I was like obsessed with it. I watched it like whenever I could see it, but I was like, that guy is freaky, man. I was super scared of him.
That's sort of my point. So between the language and the content itself, those movies weren't really aimed at your preschool, early elementary age kids. That's not who they were made for.
Right.
If you were going to say for kids at all, I would say it was for your coming of age, teens, early teens, late teens, trying to find their adult like personality, who they are, find themselves, and all of that.
And Jurassic Park is an Amblin film, just to like even put that into perspective. Like, but you do have kids in that as well with adults. It does go that way too.
So they explained that while they're aiming for a series with fun and adventure, the downside is characters that the adventure comes with danger. Skeletons and dead people and
Harry and the Hendersons. They were going to kill that. They were going to kill that Bigfoot.
What was the skeleton? One-Eyed Joe or something like that.
One-Eye Willie.
One-Eye Willie.
Yeah.
One-Eye Willie. All right, the skeleton.
Chester Cobblepot. One-Eye Willie.
Yes. This is and we've heard in this series there is that kind of experience. They're going to see the skeletons of the dead folks there. Same kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And our heroes most certainly face when lost in a galaxy far away. So Skeleton Crew is an adventure. Skeleton Crew is an adventure and a lot of fun. With adventure comes downside. It kind of repeats itself, right? And when kids are in danger, it's extra fraught. So we play with that. But overall, we want it to be just a fun adventure. Hopefully it could be for all ages type of thing. And when we told Kathleen that they wanted to go for that tone, she perfected. They never thought of these movies for kids. They just happened to be about kids. A story of a kid going on an adventure can be for anyone. So I think that's perfectly encapsulates Goonies. Go back and watch it with the idea that you've got a 5-year-old kid, and do you want the 5-year-old kid to watch it? Watch Goonies in that context, and it may not be.
I was trying to find this like quote, and I can't find it anymore because Dave Filoni's new stuff has been buried under his film announcement. And like there was a thing with Dave Filoni where he talked about films that were terrifying to you as a kid and pushing the boundaries of that stuff. Because Clone Wars got a lot of like heat from parents that were like, "This is too intense for little Sally and Billy."
Yeah.
And it was like, little Sally and Billy need to man up. They suck. They need to get on the pony. It's time for something cool. But but what he was saying was like that terrifying kind of things in myths and storytelling and stuff like that is kind of what gets you hooked on storytelling as a child. And I agree with him on that. And I also think that that intensity of the Amblin films that I had as a kid when I watched them, that's the dragon on my back I'm chasing. I'm never going to get that dopamine hit. It's never going to be that good. I'm never going to be able to believe in something like those movies at the time and feel that kind of danger. Like for me, it's like, I wouldn't take that from a kid personally. It's so good. It's so like amazing. And it's like really not that big, I mean, the Amblin stuff is pretty much like today, the Amblin stuff would probably get a rated G in a lot of ways.
Ooh,
really close to it. You don't think so?
No, they're even talking about the new Paw Patrol movie is going to get a PG.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they
Paw
can't
Patrol.
even get a G on.
Oh yeah, but they target people and beat them up and shoot them. So they're cops. So that's why. But no. But I was gonna say was I'm joking. But no. But anyways, where I'm going with is that it is. I don't know. I think that stuff is fairly tame. Like ET. What is ET rated? Did it get a PG? In the end?
Well, it was back in the day before there was PG-13, right?
Yeah, it came out in 82.
Yeah.
It did come out in 82, but
right. And the same for like Gremlins, right? Goonies, Gremlins, E.T., all of those. Bit intense for a G rating.
Yeah.
So
A New Hope was rated G, and Lucas said, "Can we please not get a rated G because it's going to hurt the movie?" And they said, "Okay, we'll give you PG then."
right. That was the days before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, not to sidetrack. The story goes on about Jude Law in part of his interview as well. It says he did label him contradictory and mirrors the world in which kids are lost in. At times, his character could be nurturing, and other times threatening. And here's the quote: "I can't tell you very much about my character. He's someone the children meet on their journey. They meet on their journey." Which is interesting. I always thought he was their teacher. Like, go back to the Magic
that's what they were.
Bus,
Yeah,
right?
no, that's what he is. That's what they were referring to, and that was his code on the set and everything. But yeah, what I'm reading in between this is there was a Jedi character that was in a video game that was canceled called Ragtag, and he was a guy who was going to go to the Jedi Temple like during Order 66. He's like getting like recruited, like they're taking him over, and then he's just like, oh, everything starts going down. He's not even like just a kid, but he has the Force. So this guy grows up using the Force to cheat at cards and using the Force to steal and to like be a scoundrel and not get caught. He doesn't have any kind of like honorable. This character had no real honorable side. He was like a kind of a sleaze bag who would then get honor from the group as the story continues on. That's when he becomes part of a family and then becomes less sleazy.
There is a character just like that in the High Republic novels, in phase 1 of the High Republic novels. Same thing. She uses the Force, and she's a bit of a scoundrel, right? She's cheating at things and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Right. But remember the Kathleen Kennedy, Steven Spielberg produced film AI?
Yes.
He played a robot named Gigolo Joe. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of Gigolo Joe in this.
Interesting.
And Jude Law in this Jedi, so to speak.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it says, so they meet him on their way home. He's not the teacher taking them on the Magic School Bus ride.
No.
Right? That's what in my head I'm like, oh, he's that character. No, he's not.
We've known that the kids run away. And then since that like trailer, like the kids literally go like, let's go on an adventure, and like, okay, but then they mess up and they end up like lost in space, and then they meet this guy, and we have that shot, and Bespin and I were like watching that trailer like over and over again. We were like on Fortnite. He's got it. We're doing frame by frame analysis.
Yeah.
We think they're in an orphanage, or they're
sure.
I think that they're probably children whose parents were killed like in the Galactic Civil War, during the Empire times anyways, and because when you look at it, they only appear to have two parents who are human. I think it's a black man and a white woman, and their ethnicities and their races as humans and orlatons and stuff like that don't add up to any of them all having different parents. And when we see that, if they've gone, only those parents go after them. So, I mean, there is a chance they are in a neighborhood and that there are, from that trailer, it looks like they all share the same living quarters because they're like looking in the beds and everything for them. And then so it appears that they're like orphans and that they have adoptive parents, or they're in an orphanage that's apparently loving. No, apparently a loving one, because when the kids go missing, they're like, we got to get our kids back. It's not like it's not like Solo where they're like, work for us, you know.
They're not like Little Orphan Annie where she's drunk and
E.T. Oh yeah, in E.T. they do get drunk. Kids do get drunk in E.T. We're not going to rate a G. I take everything I said back.
It says, he, like the world they experience, is contradictory at times. This is the quote, right? It says, what I love is because it's through their eyes. You know, there's a kind of goofy relationship between the kids and the adults.
Right.
And other times it's really quite dark and quite scary, which is, I guess, what the world looks like to an awful lot of 11-year-olds. So, look, and here's again a reminder between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, Mandoverse era, right? It should just be mentioned. It's Mandoverse era, about the time of the Mandalorian. It's a sister series to Ahsoka and Boba Fett, and lots of things. Here's another quote from Christopher Ford. For us, it was a great era because as much as New Republic are trying to bring things back to peace, right, demilitarizing, it's a kind of lawless, wild time. So there's a lot of danger. If we said it earlier, the kids might have just met the Empire and got shut down. It's more of a galaxy to get lost in. And then they were fun, really fun. They bring great dynamic to the set. In the morning, they do a special warm-up exercise, really know how to run a set well and make it fun. There's some things that are in my memory about the set.
Yeah.
Specifically, some of the things that were coming from the people who worked on Skeleton Crew. It was filmed adjacent to Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And the set, the way that it was run, the way, like from the Ahsoka set, was reported to be very, very good, very healthy, great work environment. Where the news we got about the set, working on the set, being part of the Skeleton Crew was not.
Yeah. But it was never, like, for instance, in that instance right there, it was never like, oh, the Daniels are terrible. The Daniels might have been effervescent and a breath of fresh air for them. I really don't know on that front. But when it was more management issues though. So yeah. So it's probably what they probably were cool. I mean, they come out of indie filmmaking where, you know, you're happy that the people working for you are there. You kind of are grateful to them.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get more into the Disney side, like, because I know too, like in the last year there were a lot more Disney people around the Mando sets. Is what we'll call it.
Okay.
It's a little bit more like looking in on it. That's not for the better. It's actually better when Lucasfilm's a bit more autonomous.
Yeah. There's also another thing that I've heard, that the tone of the show may not be for everybody.
It's going to come down to the edit of how it is edited at the end of the day. And when I saw that trailer though, it would be weird if they were selling the Amblin fill and it was all camp. And that's the word that has been used by multiple sources. Mm-hmm. It's really a little camp is what they keep saying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's really gonna come, because that in that trailer itself, that looked like the best Star Wars thing that was ever shot for TV on the trailer itself. And the trailers could be tricky, deceiving little turds. So that's where I'm like, I'm really excited about the potential of that show. But the whole question is, can Disney do an Amblin production without making it a Disney thing instead?
I see.
You see what I'm saying? Like
I do.
I don't think Disney could make Goonies back in the day. It would be impossible. Could Disney make Goonies today? And that's what we're about to learn. I think that's what we're about to figure out, because the filmmakers that are involved it doesn't really get any better than that in terms of of the directors and the people involved. So I got high hopes for it. Actually, probably if I could watch one show right now, I would watch that one.
Really?
That's what I'm probably the most interested in.
When I look at these shows that are coming up, I'm super hyped for Ahsoka. I have concerns about how Thrawn's character is going to be treated, the treatment of the character, the motivations of the character.
Is he going to be a good oligarch? No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. I'm joking.
But yeah, so I'm mostly excited, a little concerned. When it comes to Skeleton Crew, I am concerned but hopeful. I think is the best I can say. I'm hopeful, but I'm concerned. Like, because I've heard about how conditions were on the set, and I know the people worked really hard, and we've tried to make that really clear. I know you have said over and
great
over
movies
again,
have horrible conditions.
the
Horrible
people
conditions
who worked on it
have anything to do with quality.
Yeah, from the cameraman, the lighting, the sound, everybody who did all of the work on the set were doing good work, great work. They're doing a lot of work, all of it good. They're professionals. They're doing what they should do. But the conditions there were not great.
Yeah.
As far as like from a management perspective. That to me, I'm like, it's a bad flavor, right? I don't care for that flavor.
And I think it had a lot of it too had to do with the fact that they were trying to get shows in the can before the strikes. Like I don't think if there were no strikes, I question if they would have made as many as they did at the time. And remember that's I was talking about the strike, like almost probably in the Star Wars community. That's probably the first person to be talking about the strike. Well, and that was why, because that's what we started to hear, is that they're taking precautions because of what's going to come this summer.
Yeah, and look, I've got a reputation for being overly positive. Right, I've got a reputation for.
That's a bad reputation to have.
Well, it is.
No, it's not. It's good.
It's like I don't have enough analytical. I'm too naive and things. I've been called things, right? And I'm mostly good with all of it. But if I'm negative on anything, it's going to be Skeleton Crew.
Don't call him Beardo. He hates it when you call him Beardo. I learned that. I said, "Hey, Beardo." He said, "Shut up." No.
Shut your mouth. It really am worried. And when I hear about the campiness and the silliness of it, I'm like, ooh, it may not feel like Star Wars. It may not. Like, I am mostly worried about it, but optimistic. Like you said, maybe in the cut of it. And when these interviews seem to be saying the right things, I'm hopeful. I like Goonies. I like E.T. Yeah. I like Gremlins,
and that's right? I think it's in Gremlins and ET and even Back to the Future. I know Marty seems like an adult, but you know what I mean. He's supposed to be like a teenager, basically. Yeah. When you get down to like all of those things, like all of those characters are super likable. Like you like every single one of them, and so far what they've shown, it looks like Spy Kids on that part. That's where I think the weakness could be. Is that are those kids Amblin kids or are they the Spy Kids?
Spy Kids 1 was okay, but then after that,
but nobody needs to emulate Spy Kids. Is the point.
100%. No.
And Disney will be like, I think you're going to be a big star, little Cooper Anderson Taylor or whatever. Then all three names. Yeah. And then they invest in this like star as opposed to like being like, oh, is this a good character is this a good person for this character here? Yeah. And that's why they don't put ugly kids in shows anymore. I love ugly kids in shows. Like Chunk would not get in a Disney show. They wouldn't hire Chunk.
Mr. Megan Trainor now. He's doing okay. Spy Kids boy.
Oh yeah. But
he's doing all right with his life. He's got 2 kiddos with Megan Trainor. That's good for him.
I don't even know who Megan Trainor is. I know you listen to her though.
I love Megan Trainor. So anyway, and then the other series, The Acolyte, I am really optimistic.
That's a Meg's girlfriend's other name, Megan Trainor. Get it? She got Meg.
I am opposite. So The Acolyte, I'm mostly very, very positive about. A little concerned, but very minor. I think the show could be the best show ever. Like it's got the lightsabers, it's got the dark side of the Force, it's got all the Star Wars in it. It could be fantastic. I'm really, really hyped for it. But
new era. It's got Sith
Skeleton
Lord
Crew worries me.
Yeah,
it worries me. It really does. Like I don't know how much I can hype it.
Well, but when you got it's like when you got Andor and you got Acolyte and you got Mando,
Yeah.
and it's like that's why Skeleton Crew doesn't worry me, because it's not like a binary where it's like this or that.
Okay.
It's all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why, like, on that one I'm like, okay, like, and I see Skeleton Crew as being the opportunity where, oh, they actually might do something that they've never done before, but that's still familiar.
Yeah.
And so I see it as like it is a huge opportunity for them, like,
Okay.
really, really big. And on the other side of it too is they need to start making Star Wars for other people.
Yes. And
not us, not the old guy necessarily.
Yeah.
Then they're not. They
Like,
or it's going to Indiana Jones.
Like you say, like you go back to Goonies in the day, it gave me feelings that are different than a grown-up man watching Goonies, right?
Yeah.
And you need to get those feelings for the kids of the next generation.
Right.
And we've used the example of a smorgasbord before, where you go in and they've got all the different things. You may not be a fan of all of it, but it's got something for everybody.
Right.
And that's what I hope Star Wars becomes, is something for everybody. Maybe it's not every flavor is your favorite, and it's become more than what it used to be. If your flavor of Star Wars is only George Lucas Star Wars, then great. That flavor is still in the mix. You can absolutely go get the George Lucas Star Wars. Might you get new George Lucas Star Wars? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you have to hold on to the old George Lucas Star Wars because that's what's there for you. But for folks coming along, they may get other flavors of Star Wars that bring in other fans and overall make the fandom larger. Hey, Kendall made it. Good to see you, Kendall. There's another story. Have you watched this video? Katee Sackhoff's blah, blah, blah. She has a YouTube channel, and she's only got a couple of videos on it, right? From 8 days ago, she had my first podcast, blah, 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 right? And then 1 day ago, she had Bryce Dallas Howard, blah, blah, blah. And I got the link initially from Matt Risman on Meg's Discord. But I watched this yesterday while I was hanging out and doing things. It's a good interview. And what they do is they talk a lot about industry stuff, like stuff that you wouldn't know if you're not an actor working on things. And Meg covered it a bit in her video today, her news topic today.
I haven't seen her video yet today, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, well, Meg covered the bit where they talk about why are the shows the length they are. And they're saying, well, because they are a lot of people working on as fast as they can, and there's only so much people can do in a certain given amount of time with a certain amount of budget. And the more droids, the more CG, the more special effects that you add to an episode, the harder it is to get longer, more content out of that. And Katee gave some great examples how, like, when she was doing Battlestar Galactica, she was basically sleeping on the floor with her head on top of her machine gun, like in between takes.
Yeah.
They'd do like 2 takes of thing and move on. Like, you've got to hit it and run. And that's, I said that. Meg, I hope you're not here. But anyway.
Star Wars Santa 2023.
Don't clip it. Don't do it. Don't clip that.
Do it.
But it's just fast paced, and it's right now. And on the Mandalorian, they've had more budget, they've got more opportunity, but it's still that kind of pacing to some degree because you've got to get the shot, and you got to move on. You've only got a certain amount of time to put all this content together, and they have to trim it and be able to put it together as a coherent story. And people complaining about these shows being 40 minutes, 35 minutes, they're saying, look, there's a reason for that. And it's more than what you think. So it's a good interview. It's an hour and a half. So you got to set some time aside to watch the whole thing. But it is quite illuminating. Just to get like two actors, and Katee has obviously worked for Bryce as her director, but
Housekeeper.
how their careers got to where they are and how they got to doing what they're doing. Highly recommended.
Cocaine.
Highly recommended. Blah 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 with Katee Sackhoff. I've subscribed. See that? Santa subscribed. You guys can subscribe too. Yes. She's got.
So is Katee gonna subscribe back or what? You're gonna be stuck up.
150,000 subscribers. I mean, if I had 150,000 subscribers, I wouldn't have to.
Oh, I guess she is more famous, sir.
This live stream to go write code. But I saw the question. I think who I think it was Kendall.
She's a lot cuter than you, so probably not going to work.
No lie. Right? So, are actors about to take over the space like the athletes have? I think so. They're finding out there's a great revenue stream here.
Well, remember, like back in the day, Will Smith was doing. I think he's still doing him, but he was doing it. Yeah, but it didn't take like the other some of the other stuff has. It's worse than podcasts. Famous people ruined the podcasting market big time.
Well, I enjoyed seeing Katee and Bryce talk. They covered some Mandalorian stuff. They covered some like their careers and some of the shows that they've done. And
right,
Battlestar, The Village, working for what's that director that did that?
M. Night.
Yeah, M. Night, and how M. Night was so involved in helping Bryce get her career going and what he did for her. So it's a really good interview. So
yeah,
check it out.
That's cool.
Check it out. You'll learn some stuff about why Mandalorian is the way that it is, why the episodes are the length they are. And again, you should be following Star Wars Meg because she talked about it way more succinctly and more intelligently than I can. So
yeah,
there's that. That's it. I've got a Mike Porter dad joke though.
All right.
I got a Mike Porter dad joke that's, as we're talking about Katee Sackhoff. All right. Why does Bo-Katan wear her trendy hair like that? Why she have that trendy haircut?
Why Mike Porter dad joke?
Oh, because it's all the Krees.
Ah, you got me. Yeah.
I love Mike Porter. That dude's the best. So you guys make sure you're following him on the Twitter. I'm sure he'll have threads up before you know it. Probably already does.
But it's time, Mike Porter. Come on. Get up.
Exactly. Thank you, Ben, Brandon, Kendall, Jedi Mike, all of you guys who have been here for the whole show. NPC Epic Battles. You guys have all been wonderful. Risman even, helping out. And there's a couple of folks behind the scenes that have been here the whole time, helping the show out, making it work. Appreciate you too, my friend. I love you much. You know who you are.
The Illuminati.
And then of course, Baymax took some time from putting sunscreen on the hot babe on the beach just to put a couple of comments in. So there's that too. So thanks a lot, Jason.
Baymax is beachbabes.com. He's making it happen.
He's making something happen. That's all right. Okay. Thank you all for hanging out here today. And I look forward to talking to you next week, as long as everything goes well. And we will be having our giveaway of the Fennec Shan, Boba Fett, and the throne here very soon. All right. So thank you for being here. And we'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Fantastic weekend. And until next time, my friends. Merry Christmas. And may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.